How is it going, everyone? Welcome back to another blast from the past episode. Today we have something kind of raunchy, kind of exciting, and all up in your face. Now, if you haven't checked the title of this video, we are talking about the insane TV show called The Ripping Friends. Now, this show is the same creators behind the Ren and Stimpy show, and if you know anything about that show, well then we're in for a treat with this one. But before we get into it, guys, make sure to hit that like button down below, subscribe if you have not, and get ready because we're about to dive into one of the most bizarre, forgotten, and ripped. Now, some cartoons make you laugh, some make you cry, and then there's The Ripping Friends, a cartoon that makes you sit there confused, slightly disturbed, and somehow entertained. This show is so loud, so intense, and so completely unhinged. It didn't just fly under the radar. It just slammed the radar and screamed into the void while doing push-ups. This show is so in your face that even the theme song got you hooked and everything was thrown at you at once.
Ripping time! That's the spirit. Let's rip them apart.
Now, to understand The Ripping Friends, we've got to talk about its creator, John Kricfalusi, better known as John K. Like I said before, he's also the creator behind Ren and Stimpy, a show that changed the animation game in the 90s with its edgy humor, grotesque visuals, and absolute disregard for conventional storytelling. But John K was also controversial. His relationship with networks were often rocky, and his perfectionism caused production delays that eventually got him fired from his own show. Still, his influence couldn't be denied. So when the 2000s rolled around, he got another shot. This time with a new idea, a cartoon about four super jacked brothers fighting evil through sheer testosterone and screaming. It's basically like the Justice League, but on a bunch of steroids. Now, the show was originally pitched as early as 1999, and Fox Kids picked it up in 2001. Now, the premise was simple but insane. You had four muscular brothers, Rip, Slab, Chunk, and Craig, who lived in a man cave and solved problems the only way they knew how, by flexing, punching, and ripping things apart. And their mission to make the world a more manlier place, whatever that meant. Now, no matter how weird the brothers were, there are also a bunch of weird villains, like the Cigarette Man, a giant cigarette in a trench coat, Skeeter and the Man Baby, yes, I am not kidding, and my favorite, the Indigestible Wad, a sentient wad of chewing gum that terrorized the city and got people dehydrated by drinking all their fluids. Like I said, this show is so unhinged, it's insane. Now, every episode was barely coherent, testosterone-fueled fever dream, but beneath the chaos, there was a bizarre satire of old-school masculinity, action heroes, and 1950s-style propaganda cartoon. Now, let's break down some of the Ripping brothers. There's Rip, the leader. He's always yelling and somehow always shirtless. There's Slab, the smart one with the pencil mustache and ideas that are always dumb but sometimes work. There's Chunk, the strong, lovable oaf who literally rips doors off hinges for fun. There's Craig, the unpredictable one. He's constantly screaming, foaming at the mouth, and doing things for no reason. And of course, no brothers would be good without a mother. There's He-Mom, the boy's adoptive mother who raised them like a drill sergeant. Now, she's kind of like a sweet granny, but also an abusive coach. It's a weird combination, but it works for these brothers. Well, sort of. And one of my favorite, Jimmy. He's the Ripping Friends' loyal, simple-minded assistant who they created from their own combined DNA. Let's just say he's not the smartest tool in the shed, but he's lovable in all the fun ways, and is always a humorous character. Now, animation wise, the Ripping Friends was pure Spunko energy. Now, what I mean by that is Spunko is an American animation studio that was active from 1989 to 2005. Now, Spunko was founded by John K., the creator of the show. Spunko was known to have a wide variety of weird animations. Like I said before, the Ren and Stimpy show was also part of them, and so was the Ripping Friends. Now, this was a different style of American animation that not many people were used to. Now, 1940 cartoons were served as a huge inspiration for the surreal and highly expressive house style for which this company became well known for. Now, the rubbery movements, extreme close-ups, and facial expressions that look like something out of a horror movie. They used hand-drawn techniques with digital colored cells to give everything that squishy, grotesque edge. The designs exaggerated muscles to absurd levels, veins popping, pecs flexing, eyes bulging. It was all part of the chaos. And the sound design, constant yelling, constant grunting. It felt like the entire show was voiced by someone to win at a screaming contest in a metal gym. Now, the show would be nothing without its humor. It was loud, absurd, and unapologetic. It was also super weird. It mocked 90s politics correctness by going into the exact opposite direction. I imagine the show kind of like South Park, how it likes to go after pulp culture and everything relevant, but take that and dial it to 100. 1 minute they'll be fighting villains made out of meat, the next they're giving dramatic speeches about how using a fork is for wimps. There are even segments called Rip a Strip, where viewers are encouraged to send in things they thought were unmanly, and the Ripping Friends would rip them apart on air. We're talking about fans, hair dryers, tofus, all that stuff. Was it satire? It was more like a parody of toxic masculinity. Now, unfortunately, the show's insanity was both its superpower and its downfall. Fox Kids didn't know what to do with it. Was it for kids, for teens, or just weirdos? It didn't really fit any demographic neatly. Parents complained, kids didn't get it, and critics called it unfocused, aggressive, and even disturbing. There are only 13 episodes made, and despite a brief rerun stint on Adult Swim, the show faded into the black hole of forgotten animation. The Ripping Friends sadly lasted from September 22, 2001 to January 26, 2002. And on top of that, John K. would later become a controversial figure for real-life misconduct allegations. It didn't erase the animation legacy, but it definitely complicates everything. Now, at the end of the day, The Ripping Friends was a cartoon that didn't care if you liked it or not. It was loud, it was unapologetic, and it was also so weird that its creators probably didn't know what was going on half the time. But for a brief moment in the early 2000s, we got a cartoon that dared to scream, sweat, and flex every muscle in its way into animation history. It wasn't perfect, heck, it was barely coherent, but it was unique, and in a sea of forgotten shows, that's what makes it so unforgettable. And I remember watching this show growing up. It did freak me out sometimes, don't get me wrong, but as a kid watching this show, which I don't recommend if you're under the age of 17 to watch this show, it was actually very entertaining. Everything was in your face, everything was loud, and there was things exploding every 3 seconds. Now let me know in the comments down below, did you ever watch The Ripping Friends? Do you remember the weird gum monster? Or are you just now realizing the actual existence of this show? Or was it a dream that you remembered back in the day that now it's coming to life? Let me know in the comments. Make sure guys to smash that like button down below and subscribe for more deep dives into forgotten cartoons, childhood chaos, and underappreciated gems from the golden age of weird animation. Until next time guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you guys in the next Blast from the Past episode.